unlocked a new level that I didn't even know I was capable of. And what that does in terms of your confidence is unparalleled. And that's why I fully believe in me being able to stop Nate Diaz for this fight.
David Adesanya here, your uncrowned 145-pound champion, here with Jake, the problem child, Paul. How are you, Jake?
I'm good, man. Ready to fight. Excited.
How's your training camp going down there in Puerto Rico?
It's going perfect, dude. Like we switched everything up. I'm on point. Amazing workload. My weight's ready. Sparring more. New coaches. New strength and conditioning coach. New nutritionist. So, just feeling in the best shape of my life and excited to go in there and show the world what I'm capable of when I have a great training camp.
5 months removed from the Tommy Fury fight, when was the last time you rewatched the fight, and how do you feel about the whole saga now that it's concluded for now?
I haven't rewatched the fight ever.
Why is that? That's surprising.
Because I know I performed like shit, and so I'm basically just gonna be watching like a terrible version of myself that I know is not what I was capable of, and there's really no need to watch it. Like, what am I gonna take away, from having a terrible performance, a terrible camp, everything went wrong in the lead up. Um, it would almost do more damage, I think, to watch it than it would good.
Was there still like anything you or your coaching staff thought that they could learn still from that fight?
There was so much to learn, so much to learn. But most of it had to do with the lead up, the preparation, and the fight is a direct byproduct of the training. And um, just learned a lot about myself, a lot about not being able to take shortcuts in this sport. We tried to do this like 6.5 week camp, was sick for about 3 to 4 weeks of that. So it really was like this like 2 to 3 week camp, cutting too much weight too quickly in saunas and steam rooms and shit to shed off weight, which kind of shocked my body. Like, just the list goes on and on and on. And I've learned more from a loss than I have with all of my wins combined. I'm not saying those things as excuses. Some people are like, "Oh, you're making excuses." Like, no, I lost. I chose to do these things, and I signed myself up for a fight that I personally wasn't prepared for, and that I have to deal with those consequences, and no one else does. Um, but learned a lot and made a lot of changes in this camp, which is why I believe this was my best camp ever.
I guess you're still new in the game, and let's say you've only been a professional athlete for about 3 years. As you complete each training camp, including the fight at the end, what are some more of the most important things that you're learning as you guys, complete that process?
I think your energy and your mental state going into a fight is probably the most important, and the confidence in actual preparation. And your mind knows if you didn't do all the necessary things to prepare. And deep down, that creates a sense of doubt, and that doubt can multiply like crazy and can eat you alive. And that's what happened to me. And so the biggest thing is having just like this positive energy. And I think being in a good place in life, which I wasn't going into the Tommy Fury camp. Um, so not trying to persevere through that and thinking I'm some sort of superhuman that can just like defy all things going wrong and still like win these fights. There's no shortcuts, and there's a reason why it's the hardest sport in the world.
When you talk about that doubt eating you alive, what parts of your mental does it attack? Is it your confidence because you don't think you've dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and does it start to talk?
Yeah, exactly. It's the confidence, and the confidence uh in your physicality as well. So I don't know if I can give a solid 8 rounds here. Like, I don't know if I can keep up this pace. Um, and it trickles down even into your sparring. Like I wasn't having good sparring. And I think deep down I knew that. And it just grew this like monster and it grew this like seed in my mind of this like negative doubt. And I thought I could overcome that and just show up and perform on the night. But it's those like all those little things that add up and you start losing the rounds by this much because it's like this trickle effect.
Just a couple more questions about your career so far. What have been some of your favorite parts of the journey in the last 3 years?
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out the most is promoting Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor and just like being in Madison Square Garden and like not being able to hear your own voice because that was like the loudest stadium I'd ever been in. Um, and seeing Amanda Serrano get the paydays that she deserves, and then winning knockout of the year, the knocking out Tyron Woodley, and just having like an amazing time celebrating my run up until that point. Those two things probably stand out the most.
Yeah, those are all great moments. Yeah, you said you've made some
Thank you,
changes in
man.
your team and you fired people and you brought new people in. When did you know that was the right move to make? Like, when did you know you had to cut some people off and they weren't doing the job of what you expected or you weren't seeing results? How did that process play out?
Yeah, I think it took like a couple of weeks to let everything like sink in and to assess what had happened and to hear different people speak upon it that are close to the team to make decisions on that. And just the actions of like certain people in post fight and how they responded to it, you know. Um,
Was that the
and
classic, like, when you win, everyone's, oh, yeah, you're the man, like, everyone's around you. And then when it goes south, people that were,
yeah, they just disappear, like don't say anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but no harm, no foul. I don't hate them or anything for these things. It's whatever. It's water under the bridge. But I then have to make decisions based off of their actions. So, um, that's what I did, and just like started exploring new options, tested out a couple different coaches, and then just made a decision with what felt best for my career.
When it comes to your matchmaking and picking your opponents, are you sort of in a pickle? Like, do you have to fight, let's say, other YouTubers or older fighters that are like retiring from MMA and coming into boxing? Do you think a fight with just a normal, professional boxer with 4 to 6 fights, no famous brother, no clout, so to speak, would still be a viable option as like an opponent moving forward?
Yeah, look, I mean, it is tough to find opponents, but thus far there's been a ton of them. So there's been a lot of people that do in fact fit the criteria, and there's still so many big fights out there for me. Uh, so I think it'll become tougher down the line. But then again, like who knows? I want to fight people with big names. I want to fight people in their prime. Nate Diaz is coming off of a massive win in the UFC. Um, he's got a ton of momentum and he's still fresh. So to me, it makes a ton of sense to fight a legend like him. I went and fought Tommy Fury. The plan always was to fight Nate Diaz after Tommy Fury. Still gonna go back and do the Tommy Fury rematch, but again, I just continue to challenge myself with each fight. Moving up to 10 rounds in this fight. Going up against a professional boxer. At first, I beat a YouTuber. Then it was going up against a professional athlete, Nate Robinson. So I've just grown my level of opposition as I've gotten more confident in my abilities. Um, but to me, all of these fights going into them are pretty much unknown. Like they've all been challenges that I don't know for sure if I could overcome them. I'm confident, yes. I do all the work I can, yes. Um, but there's nothing set in stone with any of these guys.
What's the worst your anxiety and like not fear, I'd say anxiety and like anxiousness has gotten before a fight? Because you know you've only been doing this for a few years. You're fighting some fighters that have been fighting over a decade, 2 decades. How
Yeah,
bad has it gotten?
I think leading into the first Tyron Woodley fight, it was really bad. Like I hadn't done 8 rounds. The max I had been was 2 rounds with Nate Robinson. So I didn't even know what it was like to be in a professional fight past 2 rounds. I didn't even know if I had the cardio to do it and all of these things. So there was a ton of nerves around that because I knew he had knockout power and is a dog. So that was probably the most anxious I got. And then once I got through 8 rounds with him, I think I felt like I belonged in there.
And how do you overcome that? Because yeah, like I said, like you know, some of these things are still new to you. What process do you take your mind through to be like calm down? We have to fight. We'll get through this.
Yeah, positive affirmations, meditation, realizing that these fears are only existing because you're creating them. Your own mind is creating the fear. And so you have to expel it and get back in control and overtake your own mind. Um, and to realize that having a little bit of that fear is good, but having too much of it is bad. And so getting it to the perfect level that you want it at and not letting your like emotions and crazy thoughts get the best of you. Easy, way easier said than done. But if you practice meditation and breath work, uh, these are some of the things that I do all the time, and that really, really helps.
Yeah, that's similar to what Izzy does with his breathwork coach, and they do the pool work and teach the body how to calm the central nervous system and stuff like that. Interesting stuff. Yeah, the Diaz brothers are known for their patented style of boxing. No one really fights like them. Who have you brought into your camp to give you the correct looks during sparring and to try and sort of imitate Nate the best that someone can?
Yeah, we have the best imitator of Nate in the world. It's this guy named Saul. He's an awesome guy. He's been super helpful in this camp. Shout out to Saul. And Masvidal used him to prepare for Nate Diaz. And so Masvidal hit me up and was like, "Yo, I have the perfect guy to help you train." And when I started sparring him, I couldn't believe it. I was like, "This is Nate Diaz." So he's given me an amazing look. And Dustin Poirier was using him to get ready for Nate. Obviously, that fight fell out, and then Masvidal used him to get ready for Nate. So I feel like I've literally been sparring Nate in the lead up to this fight.
You talked about how much hunger and vengeance that you had in you after your first loss. How have you used that, and how disciplined have you been during this training camp, coming off your first loss?
Man, insanely disciplined, like on a whole nother level that I didn't even think was possible. But I've been in the gym every single day since the day after the Tommy Fury fight. I got off the flight and immediately started jogging and training and haven't stopped since then. And losing like probably one of the worst feelings in the world. And whenever now I am tired or like don't want to like practice or my body's just like not responding, I instantly think of the feeling of losing and it's like, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Get the fuck over it. You got to turn it up right fucking now because we're never losing again. And having that as a motivation is like nothing else. So I thank Tommy for beating me because it's changed my life for the better and it's really reset me back onto this path that I was probably supposed to be on before a loss.
Nate is known for being extremely hard to put away, even if you're able to land on him, consistently. How much emphasis have you guys put on your cardio so that you gassing out is not a possibility in the fight Because we've seen, Nate fight, people land on him. Sometimes they get complacent or they get tired, and then he has a resurgence because his cardio goes on for so long, and then, he comes back. How important has your conditioning been?
Super important and one of the main focuses of the camp. And my new strength and conditioning coach has made all the difference in the world. And my motor is on a whole nother level. I'm getting second wins, third wins. My runs are faster than they've ever been. My punch output is higher than it's ever been. And when I'm hurting my opponents in sparring, I'm unleashing on them, hurting them, getting my own coaches like stop it. And then a new guy comes in, and then I do 4 or 5 more rounds with them. Um, I've unlocked a new level that I didn't even know I was capable of. And what that does in terms of your confidence is unparalleled. And that's why I know and fully believe in me being able to stop Nate Diaz for this fight.
Was booking the fight in Texas a strategic move because marijuana is not legal there, or was that just by chance?
No, it was by chance. Um, just the date availabilities and the pay-per-view openings and other events going on. Uh, and then Texas approving the fight. So a lot that those were kind of the main points going into it.
Things have been pretty calm so far in this fight build up. What type of energy are you expecting during fight week from the Diaz army?
I think it's time to turn it up a notch. I think both sides are ready for that.
Is
So
it time
hopefully we
for
get
the
some
water bottles to
exciting.
come out?
Yes. Yes, hopefully we get some water bottle throws. I'm ready for it, man. I signed up for this fight because I love entertaining buildups, and we haven't gotten much from their side. So hopefully they bring some smoke on fight week.
Nice. Just a couple more off the cuff questions. Have you ever run into Dana in person?
I have not.
Any
I have
close
not.
encounters that you guys in the same hotel, same casino, same?
I don't believe so. Not that I know of. I don't really spend a lot of time in Vegas, which I think is where he mostly is. So, um, we haven't run into each other.
What's your relationship like with Francis Ngannou?
Man, it's a good one. Like very supportive of each other, and I want like the absolute best for him. I think he's the baddest man on the planet. Um, want to see him get massive paydays. Want to support him however I can, and I think he's just like a great guy with a great story, um, and he deserves the world. So, um, a fan of his, a supporter of his, and a friend of his.
Nice. Thank you so much, Jake. Appreciate the time. Wish you all the best in the final stage of your preparations, and yeah, go get them.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna knock him out.
Hey guys, what's up? Izzy here. Like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoy this video.